real as it gets.
Hey, this is Marcia Prince, IFBB Bikini Pro and Guest Berry Nutrition spokesmodel, and you are listening to the UCW radio show, In Your Face.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
Give it to me, baby.
All right, welcome back to the UCW radio show, and we're lining up some great guests on the show for our listeners. From sports, entertainment, and health to finance and real estate. You know, we're going to be running the gamut of different industries, and we're not only bringing on inspirational guests, but we're going to be speaking about the business end of things so that we can get a greater insight to what they're actually doing and find out what these bright minds are bringing out and what makes everything tick. So with that said, let's get set for our next guest. He has been involved in the world of bodybuilding. He's been involved in the International Federation of Bodybuilders, or IFBB, in various capacities. He has trained with some of the top bodybuilders in the world, and he understands the world and the business of nutrition inside and out. He's developed a nutrition brand that is taking the fitness world by storm. Trust me, you're going to be hearing a lot about this on a global scale. So please join me in welcoming, straight from the UK, the founder of Novo Nutrition and its flagship brand, Protein Bites, Andrew Coulson, to the show. All right, we're here with Andy Coulson. Andy, how you doing, buddy? You and I go back a wee bit, and I want to welcome you back to the UCW radio show. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Louis?
Look, I'm hanging in there. I opened my eyes this morning. I was happy.
Right. Every day above beyond the blessed day.
Yeah, exactly. And our listeners that listen to the UCW radio show, they understand that I bring on guests that are inspirational, but I'm doing a little more this year. I'm bringing on guests like yourself that are not only inspirational, but they are actually the bright minds behind the next big thing in a particular industry. And your industry is health and fitness. And you've been involved in the bodybuilding industry, you know, for a long time. And I want our listeners to understand about your brand, your company, Novo Nutrition, and the brand Protein Bites, the product Protein Bites that you came out with. And I want to kind of go behind the curtain, because I want them to understand the history of Novo Nutrition and how it came about. So I guess my first question is, what, in your wildest imagination, what made you want to do this?
The objective was to always launch a product into the fitness market. And if you go back 10 to 15 years, and even in the coming years, most people just look to do stereotypical things, which are protein powders, pre-workouts. It would have been very, very easy for me to do that, given my fortunate position in the fitness industry. But that would have been suicide. The market is absolutely saturated. Big brands are struggling and fighting for price. So I was never going to go into it with a view to just go into a price war. But equally, that wasn't what I wanted to achieve either. I had a vision, for want of a better word, to see the trend of protein into mainstream. And the only way to conducively do that was to think of putting protein into a product that what I call dovetailed into people's eating habits, the familiarity of eat. And of course that has to coincide with convenience. It has to coincide with the price that people are prepared to pay. So that was the challenge. To think of delivering protein in a format that not only health-conscious people would go for, but what you'll see over the next 10 years, which is exponential growth into mainstream for the consumption of protein. And that global trend that I forecast many years ago has actually started now.
Okay, but now this concept that you had, and I know the story, but our listeners don't. The concept that you had started several years ago.
Yes, it did. the concept was thought about several years ago, but like most things I do, I usually think of something that isn't very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking of a convenient way to eat protein and putting it into what you call a chip might sound very easy, but I can assure you it's been the most testing and taxing things that we've had to do. And it took us to the point of 2 years to get it to a state where we were going to test the market. And what I mean by that is just to see if people engage with protein in a chip.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, 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 very difficult first, which is why nobody else is doing it.
And for the most part, usually when people think about protein, they think about, okay, I have to buy a protein powder, make a shake. I have to buy a protein bar that is a bar and is chewy and everything else. But what you have is something that if someone, well, in America, people are watching football. Right now they're watching basketball. They can actually have these while, instead of eating chips, they can eat these.
Yeah, I mean, some people have called it a guilt-free chip, but a guilt-free chip is just a low-fat chip. Low-fat chips are increasing, and the market's increasing on those. But to infuse protein into it has taken our R&D people 2 years to get it to the point where we took it to the market to see if people engage with protein in a chip. And then I came up against an awful lot of objection with that too, by the way. Because it goes against the grain, it goes against conformity. Well, to all the conformists out there that are making protein bars, let me tell you this, conformists very rarely achieve anything new. So you just got to keep going and love and believe what you do. So yeah, we took the product to FIBO I took the product in literally a cardboard box in 2013. And as you know, Lou, I know lots of people in the fitness and bodybuilding game. And I was all like an excited school child taking it to the biggest fitness expo in Europe. And I got the product out there. And to cut a long story short, everybody said that I was a fool. And no way would anybody eat protein in a chip. But they couldn't see beyond, no disrespect to them, and forgive them all, but they couldn't see beyond the protein stuff in the protein bars. So that just drove us further to produce the product.
Well, and I have to interject a little bit here, because I remember when you did that and you had that reaction, but I also remember you just coming, you were just at an event not too long ago, and let's call it a year later. And I believe you didn't have one bag left.
No, we moved. I think we moved just giving to people that came to the stand somewhere to the tune of 18,000 packets at the FIBO exactly 12 months later. Mm-hmm. And the reaction 12 months later was everybody coming to the stand. And I take every single customer and every single distributor as part of the Protein Bites family on Novo Nutrition. But yeah, we moved. It's a lot of packets of chips that people were coming for. And they were quite shocked. Well,
and where 12 months before, you couldn't do anything because no one believed in you. No one believed in the product. No one believed that it can be done. And I'm saying it, you're not saying it, and I'm pretty vocal when it comes to things like that, Andy. You know me. You're a path maker. You went against everything that every major supplement company says you need to do. If you're in bodybuilding, you have to make your protein shake. You got to have your bars, and this is what you need to do in your vitamins. But you went the other way, and you actually, for all intents and purposes, you started, and I'm not going to call it a revolution. I'm going to call it an evolution in health products.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I believe in what I saw as a vision, and all support goes to my family, really, for just standing by me in my absence, because all that did was make me drive and work this vision even harder. But I was looking 5-10 years further ahead than a lot of the people when I was showing them the product. So, and it's transpiring to be the right move. But it's, you've got to love what you do. You can only be driven by passion. That's what I believe. Yeah. And only passion will make you work the hours. the public want.
Yeah, and you and I have discussed over the years in depth about passion and, and drive and wanting and actually sticking to what you believe in and fighting to make it happen and fighting for your dreams. And that's something that you've done with Novo Nutrition. And I love the story. And the reason I love the story is because when you started this, I remember that, this was a new venture. And when a year ago, when you went to the FIBO, and they said, a lot of people said, you're crazy, you're nuts, and what did you do? You made it happen. And a year later, they're coming to you. Distributors are coming to you. And this is only the first step in what you're looking to do.
Yeah, I mean, you've all, in any forward round planning, you've got to think years ahead, but you've just got to stick to your vision. I'm not saying you don't have to change and alter and move direction a little bit. I'm not saying you don't get put on your arse. You just got to keep getting back up, and you've got to surround yourself by like-minded people. But when at the end of the day, when all's said and done, if you do have a vision, if you do have a purpose, my view is this: life is quite shallow. You don't do what you love. So nobody was going to, no disrespect, tell me that I couldn't actually try to do this. Whether it was going to succeed or not, who knows? But I was still going to do it, and that's what I call purpose.
Well, I mean, look, you stood to your guns because you, as I know, are very passionate about what you do. But more importantly, when you do something, you're not doing things blindly. You're not doing it haphazardly. You understand the business of fitness, the business of health, the business of bodybuilding more than a lot of people that have been involved in this world for a long time, because you've been in a lot of facets in bodybuilding, from the business end to the competitive end, and you've seen it all. So that probably gives you a better insight to what's happening in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the bodybuilding industry or the gym industry, that's exponentially growing too. So you've got trending people getting healthy on a global fashion. But you've got to think a little bit further down those lines. You've got to think sort of 2 or 3 years beyond that. And you've also got to think, like, who are the people coming into the industry, and how do we make it easy for them to, just like any other industry, how are the gyms making it easy for people to become members? They're opening them everywhere. So you've got to think, okay, how easy can I deliver them protein? Now, the problem with human eating habits is if you come with something completely revolutionary, even if it's absolutely fantastic, if it goes against the grain of familiarity of eating habits, you will fail. I know that from my experience in food. So, because people are creatures of habit. So you've got to think outside the box, but to some degree think within what I call the human eating footprint, and then dovetail into that and try to think of the imaginative how you can deliver a product that's convenient. Convenience is king. Mm-hmm. I'll give you some small statistics. Protein bars are growing exponentially. There's a great brand out there that we're going to be working with, the biggest brand in the world now. But if you look at most protein bars, they're hard to eat, they're tough, you need a bottle of water to go through them. It's what I call an emergency purchase, an emergency hit for your protein. Apart from the one bar, which I'll give them credit for on record, which is Quest. I think they've done a fantastic job in not only the product but also the marketing. But apart from those, everybody's trying to copycat them. Even ready to drink protein shake, they're growing in double-digit figures globally. When you look at protein tubs, they're really not growing that much. They're just growing in the gym and fitness industry. But you've got to think a little bit further beyond that. Mm-hmm. You've got to think of when protein starts to trend, and it is starting in America now. It's starting in Northern European countries now because the more health-conscious countries, people are looking for more convenient ways to eat it. And it's got to be tasty. And it's got to be a frequent consumption. It's got to be people that are familiar with. And in my view, you want it for all ages and non-sexual. Protein bars, unless you're a gym goer, are a masculine product by definition, by the shape. They're quite messy. They're invariably hard to eat. 99% of all protein bars you may as well just eat a candy bar because it's absolutely full of sugars. It's also full of what you call other ingredients that I won't mention that knocking in the product, but they're not good for you. Polyols described as non-carbohydrate fibers. So you've got to think a little bit deeper as the human psyche of what's going to get them to eat something. And if it's an option for something that they're already eating, but it's healthy and it's got protein, you've got a chance. But you're up against the tide because you will come up against people, even the trade on the global side. 12 months ago, FIBA, not one single distributor, not one, actually greeted me with open arms. In actual fact, quite the opposite. But we continued. That's behind us, and you can't ponder on that. So that was.
But Andy, I want to stop you for 1 second. I want to kind of like reel in a little bit. Now, when you were developing this, I'm going to say that you had to not only think about the product and think about a lot of different things associated with it, but you had to put a little psychology into it as well. Is this right?
Well, there's an awful lot of my psychology that's gone into this product, and people think, as I say, you've got to use psychology of people's eating habits, and then it becomes, who's thought of this? Why hasn't it never been done before? Why hasn't it never been done before? So there's an awful lot of good psychology going into this.
And that's what helped you to actually kind of dive in and go with the protein bites, because as you said, if you make a product that fits into what's normal, well, what people consider normal, or what's within their habits, it'll be an easier sell.
It shouldn't be a difficult sell. I mean, let's create a little bit of light-heartedness in this. It shouldn't be a difficult sell. It should be like, wow, how has someone done this? At last, or first, somebody's done it. For a food product to take off, I'm very passionate about it. It shouldn't be a difficult sell. If it's a difficult selling food, it'll fail. And it'll fail for several reasons. One of the reasons is you won't have the money to market it to convince people to eat it. So you've got to have some fun as well, Well, let's be realistic. It's not a serious product, is it? It's a chip.
Right.
It's not a medicinal product. We're not a serious brand. We want to have some fun in what we do, enjoy what we do. A very satisfying thing about this is making people healthy. Which is very self-rewarding from a personal perspective. And as obesity is rising, and people getting fatter, it's all good fun. And let's make it easy for everybody.
Oh, and that's why I think that you're kind of like one step ahead of a lot of. I think it's my opinion, Andy. I think you're one step ahead of a lot of brands out there. The reason I say that is because you're thinking, and you're thinking outside of the box. You're thinking, what can happen down the road. Because I'm looking at these chips like, okay, these chips are here. People can utilize them when they're watching TV. They can eat them here. They can eat them on the go. They can have them in their car. You know what? Hey, kid, you're going to school. Instead of having, this junk food, here, take a bag of these chips. Because kids need protein as well. And it's not, And for anyone to eat this, you're not pointing a gun to their head. You don't have to force feed them. They'll do it because it tastes good.
But it's all good fun, isn't it? I mean, I don't think I'm pioneering anything really, because once you get to that point, you get a bit complacent. You just got to keep enjoying what we do and have some fun in the process.
But you know what? I beg to differ, Andy, because, the reality is you're doing something that no one else has done. So, yeah, that makes you a pioneer. Even though you don't want to think that way, I'm telling you that that's the case.
Because that in my eyes, Louis, if you start thinking you're a pioneer, you start getting a bit too big for your shoes.
Yeah.
And your ego gets too big, and then someone's going to come bite you in the ass. So I just keep doing what I do, and I love what I do.
Well, then you will get a protein bite in the ass, right?
But
you know what? I'm not saying that to to boost an ego. I'm just talking reality, because our listeners, as they're listening to you and they're listening to the show, I want them to get a good idea and to be inspired that when someone tells you don't do something and you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're doing, guess what? Jump in and stick to your guns and make it happen. And that's what you've done with Novo Nutrition. That's what you're doing with Protein Bites. And that's just one product of, I'm sure, a whole host of products that you're going to have.
If you want the listeners to sort of a little bit of advice from me, it's this. I mean, without getting too serious, without getting too motivational, but this isn't no sort of cliche story you see on social media. This is real life, people. But the reality is this. What is the worst thing that can happen if you fail? What is the worst possible thing that can happen if you fail? Okay, people laugh at you. People will mock you. People that said you couldn't do it. And you might lose some money, put some money in. But that's it. At the end of the day, rub yourself up, pick yourself back up, man up, and just do something else again. What's the worst thing? And the fear of failure is the biggest thing that stops people doing anything. Yep. But just the reality is, what's the worst that can happen? It's people's perception and people's fear of what other people think about them. It stops people doing stuff. So, get back those people, get off your backside and just do something special.
And, But I think that's great advice. I think that's great advice because, I think a lot of people do have a fear of failure. But if you don't try, how do you know? If you don't try, how do you know? And if you do fail, you know what? Some of the most successful people that I have come across in my life have been the biggest failures. But their successes are remembered. Their failures are not.
Well, one of the criteria I'm looking for when I look for new staff now is I want people that have failed. People who have attempted to do something. Not necessarily when we're building it and not sort of just conform to what I say or conform to the people there. I want them to have some vision in their own little mind and conquer that fear. And in them doing that, they tick all the boxes. Whether they know anything about the company, it doesn't really matter. It shows they've got a backbone, and that's what we need in people. And everybody's got it, they just need it bringing out, that's all. So, it's a very everyday challenge for us. Don't get me wrong, it's not, what we're doing is not easy pioneering. We are the fastest growing savoury protein snack in the world. We're covering a lot of continents now. But it's every day the challenge. People might think when it goes out protein ship, I can guarantee you this, people. Every day is a complete challenge. In every facet of everything. But what keeps you going is that you love what you do. You could have some fun. And hopefully, upon reflection, some of your key members of your family and your loved ones, they look back and they're proud of you. And that's all that really matters. Your family.
I mean, I'll say this, Andy, that I've been there from inception, and I've seen your journey. I've seen it grow. I've seen it go. You and I have spoken in depth about overcoming adversity and everything, and you have continued to persevere. And I think people should be inspired by that, because I know a year from today that Novo Nutrition will be one of the top brands not in the UK, not in the US, in the world. I know it. I know it because you're behind it.
Yes.
And that's I'm saying it. You don't have to say anything. I'm saying it because this is what I believe. And I always look at the person. And I'll just touch on something. I know we're speaking about Novo Nutrition, but, I look at someone like Rich Gaspari and how he created his brand. I know his story. He's a great guy, and he created it in a garage. Garage burnt down. He had to redo it, and he built a brand. He put a team together, and he built a global brand that is thriving. And I see that same passion in you. That's why I know that you will be as, if not more, successful with what you're doing.
That's all good. Rich has done a fantastic job there. The advantage that we do have, of course, is that we, in being a completely new product, is that it's a shock factor. The disadvantage you've got is to get people to try it out of the eating comfort zone. But the good thing that we've got is that we're a savoury on the go snack. So it's and that brand footprint is going to be for all my products. So as I'm speaking to you now, I know what time is it now. Yeah, I know there's another container, 2 or 3 containers being unloaded in GNC America. And America's going to be a huge market for us. We are going to be exclusive with GNC for the next 6 months. All the team and GNC are behind the project, and it will get me to learn about the market. It'll get me to learn about the American market, and that's what I need to do.
And you're talking about GNC nationally in the U.S., right?
Yes, GNC nationally.
Okay, so do you know how many stores GNC has?
Roughly 5,800, over 1,000 in the franchise, but corporate stores over 3,000. We are penetrating next week 1,250 of the A-list stores, and we're doing that just to get a feel for the market. Anybody who thinks America is one market will fail. Mm-hmm. It's a cross-cultural country, and each state is slightly different. But that's why we've gone for a global brand like GNC, so we can get a feel for each state. And they're great working partners.
And that's one hell of a distribution network without any doubt, and I think that, with Protein Bites being a start, going into these locations, once you come out with your other products, it's going to be an easier deal because you'll have your distribution network in place.
Yeah, I mean, to give you some indication of where we are now, we're in a lot of European countries, we're covering a lot of the Middle East too, but more to the point, you can see the trend happening now in the UK, and I think it's something like 14 days' time, we're going to be in one of the biggest retailers in the world, which is Tesco. Tesco UK approached us because they saw protein trending. And then they looked at products in the market, and they actually contacted us and asked us for a chat as to the reason why protein is going to trend. And it's that working partnership we've got with Tesco in the UK that will also give us traction with consumers. The major retailers drive markets. The major retailers are the ones that change markets. So we're very fortunate we've got Tesco in our team too.
Well, I think that this is going to be a snowball effect. I think it's going to be a snowball effect on a global scale. And, as I said, distribution with anything, I don't care if you're in Hollywood, if you're in the food industry, if you're selling sneakers, or whatever you're doing, distribution is key. And once you have that distribution, that proven distribution network in your pocket, it'll allow you to roll out products that people would adhere to. Taking the vision that you've had, that you have, that you've shown with Protein Bites, and coming out with different products. And the best part about it, Andy, that I like, is because I know how you are, and when this becomes as successful as I believe it will, that you're going to be the guy that's going to be paying it forward, and you're going to be doing a lot of good out there. And that makes me smile, because I love it when good things happen for good people for the right reasons. And that's what's happening here.
On a slightly personal note, it's whatever people's definition of success is, isn't it? If you wake up today with a smile on your face, whether you're in business, whether you work for a job, you're successful. That's how I see it. So the minute that I stop waking up with a smile on my face, for too many days, like 3 people said, I will stop doing this. But that will happen, because I know a lot of people get satisfaction just from this little story. And we're giving back to people.
Yep.
And more to the point, we're hopefully helping people eat healthier. And protein is going to trend for various reasons. The governments have been told consumers a lie. People, you've been told a lie. Whoever's listening to this, if you've been told not to eat fat-free, and fat is bad for you, you've been told a lie. And I'll tell you why you've been told a lie, because fats don't make you fat. Calories make you fat. So a well-balanced diet with fats in will not make you fat. The biggest lie the whole of the food industry is given to consumers, and the governments have allowed this, is that fat-free products are invariably laced with sugar. Therefore, the calorific content may as well have fat in. If the fat-free products taste nice to put sugar in. I.e. a protein bar, people. look on the back of a protein bar, look how much sugar's in it. There's almost 3/4 of the sugar as there is protein, and there's almost 3/4 the amount of fat there is protein. So therefore, by definition, it's not really a protein bar, it's a sugar and a fat bar with some protein.
Yeah, but doesn't that, I mean, when you have sugar, that type of sugar in a protein bar, isn't that, counteractive? Because sugars actually slow down the assimilation of protein and other amino acids, right?
I mean, you're getting into fine detail to some degree, yes. But the negative effect of consuming sugar, for example, in most candy bars disguised as protein, is that your insulin spike goes up, and you get fat. You may as well just eat candy bar. But that goes across the whole of the food sector. Let's not tap protein bars, because at least protein bars better than Snickers bar.
Mm-hmm.
It goes across all food products. So people have been told a lie, and I know for the absolute fact that governments are going to be now attacking sugars, and you're going to be seeing a trend on that. Of course, I've done all my research, and I've been research years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be attacking sugars, so therefore people are looking for what to eat. And if you look at most balanced diets, or you look at the diet plans that people to lose weight, they're high protein. So protein is going to rapidly trend. It's probably going to trend far faster than I even envisioned. I can see it trending in the UK faster than I thought. And in America, wherever you go, you can see protein. But you don't see protein chips. So you will do in the next 12 months. So it's all good fun.
No, I mean, you're doing some great things. I want to kind of give our listeners a little information on the business of nutrition, because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that you're involved in. Can you? I don't know if you have information in front of you, but can you share some stats as far as what's going on in the world of nutrition, and what's making everything push further?
Well, I mean, I don't want to bamboozle your listeners with figures, but I'll just give them some indication. If protein consumption continues with its rate that it's doing now, and the growth of protein penetration goes into mainstream as it is now, we will run out of protein in 5 years. It's growing that fast. Protein prices are rapidly going through the roof. So when people say to me, Andrew, your protein chips a little bit more than a bag of chips, well, yeah, that's because it's got protein in it, and it's not, so your listeners are aware, 1 in 3 of normal chips is just pure fat. So, that just gives an indication of how protein is rapidly trending low. Mm-hmm. If it continues at the rate it is now, the world will run out of protein.
Is that possible for the world to run out of protein now?
But it's not going to. I'm using exaggerated words there, but to a point where protein will be very, very expensive. But yes, at the current rate in 5 years, will be at saturation point, and the price will probably double.
And at that point, the quality is going to reign, and all the the lower shelf products are, in my opinion, I think that they're just going to get knocked out. They're going to be priced out, because if you're peddling garbage, people are getting smarter. Like with let's talk about stocks. You have people you have the next generation that is out here, and they're smarter than the generation before as far as the stock market is concerned. Now, talk about protein in the nutrition industry. You have the next generation, which is smarter than the previous generation, so they see a lot more. And with social media and everything else, there's no way that you can hide if you're doing something that, people are going to deem unhealthy.
I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? People looking to be healthier. The visual trigger points for young teenagers and 20-year-olds. You don't see boy bands. Just fat boy bands. You don't see fat girl bands. So it boils down to what they want to look like. But that's good to some degree. But also people can get OTT with it. But we as a brand, we're definitely trying to dovetail into the nutrition market, but we want to be penetrating mainstream. That's my vision. It's not. I'm not after something. I'm not just after protein bar eaters. You know, I'm wanting the woman at home who's watching some TV and she can pack on some protein chips instead of, you know, a fat.
Well, it's better to have the protein chips. But let me ask you this. Now, I just want your opinion on it. You know, I'm just going into entertainment for a second. You know, you have Marvel, which has a lot of movies that have been coming out, from Iron Man, the X-Men, so on and so forth. And you have a lot of superheroes that are out there. Superheroes that are in shape. You have the female superheroes that are in great shape, and the male superheroes that are in great shape. Do you think that is helping? Because you have the saturation from the superhero market is heavy. Do you think that is having some type of impact as well with people, you know, kind of wanting to be healthier?
Oh, come on, guys. I mean, let's cut to the chase there. It's everywhere, isn't it? You don't see fat superheroes, do you? You don't see, no disrespect, overweight, what the top film stars. It's just everywhere. You know, that's not like, I mean, I can be very direct and use the words that you want me to use, but I'm not going to. But it's driven by, the whole industry is driven by several things, and one of those words is a 3-letter word. And it penetrates itself all the way down. But, you know, we're not here to change people. We just have to have some fun. It's make protein easy for people. It's not easy for us to make protein easy for people.
All right.
So I'm laughing, but, you know, let's have some fun on the way.
No,
Well,
I think you're doing some great stuff, Andy. Now, I mean, can you give us just, you know, like a sneak peek at potentially other products that you may be coming out with?
No. No. Some of these listeners might pinch those ideas.
Yeah, that's true. But if, you know, if I know you and I know what's going to happen here, as I said earlier in the show, that I think that you are setting the ground, because you're innovative. You're innovative. And if you're innovative in this industry, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, if you're innovative in this industry and you connect with your consumers, with consumers in general, not only yours, but, you know, consumers in general, health-conscious people, and you make it easier for them to incorporate your product in their daily lifestyle, you know, how can you lose? You really can't.
It sounds like it ticks all the boxes, though. You know, it sounds like, how has nobody done this before? Well, you know, people have tried to do it, but as far as my products are concerned, they will all be engaging with what people are currently eating in the kitchen cupboard at the moment. So that's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, you mentioned that, you know, people said, well, people have tried XYZ. You know, I've been involved in the health, fitness, and bodybuilding world for a long time myself, and you know, you see all these, you know, comical products, and I call them comical because I look at them and I laugh, because, like, really, what's this? You know, but I haven't seen anything like this ever.
Nope. It's new.
And but that's innovation. That's innovation. So, you know, I have to object, just like a judge, I'm a lawyer, objection, to what you were saying, that, you know, that other people have tried this. They have not tried this. You are pioneering something, and I'm saying it again. You're pioneering something. You're blazing a trail in a way that most people in the industry are probably going to be looking at you like, holy crap, he did it? If he did it, we can do it. Why didn't we think about that?
Just simply, I really don't give a flying monkeys what people think about me, about family, and at the end of the day, they will be looking. I know they're looking now, and I know they're trying to copy my products, but they'll be still waiting to see if this thing really works globally. But I'm thinking 3 or 4 years ahead, so it's not. You know, you've got to be a little bit more foresighted, and you can't expect people not to try to copy you. But yeah, I'm enjoying life at the moment, even though it's probably the most taxing thing that I've ever done, ever, as a career. I'm enjoying what I do, so that's why it's been driven so fast. It's all good fun.
Well, you know what? You're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep having enjoyment. You have good people by your side. and your circle is pretty strong. And look, during this whole show, we haven't mentioned Dorian Yates one time.
Yeah, Dorian's a good man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I didn't want to put too much focus on him. You know, I wanted this to be about you and the business of nutrition and how the industry is continuing to grow and where you stand. Because Novo Nutrition, you know, a year ago, nobody believed in it. Now, people are beginning to take notice, and you're going to have global distribution on your product, and this is only the beginning. So for all our listeners out there, I want you to, if you want to be inspired by someone, be inspired by Andrew Coulson. You know, because he took himself, put himself in a position of doing something where not too many people believe. His close friends believed in him, but no one else believed that he can do this. They thought he was crazy. I guess the same way they thought Thomas Edison was crazy. Or Steve Jobs is crazy, right? He was a crazy guy.
They all said my good friend Dorian couldn't be Mr. Olympia, and he just went away and worked himself, and he let his work do the talk, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think I've got to give a lot of credit to Dorian because he's been a good friend of mine, and the penalty. It's a journey. So at the end of the day, as you know, I've come from an IFBB judging background and a strong bodybuilding background, and then you get connections. You know, Dorian's been a very good friend and a loyal friend. You know, we've had his ups and downs like anybody, but he's a really good man. He's probably the most kind-hearted people that I ever know. But you know, so a big shout out to Dorian Yates for that.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of add on to that, I know Dorian, when he sticks to his word, he doesn't waffle, and that's what I kind of respect about him. Because
he's definitely a straight talker.
Yeah. He sticks to what he says. He doesn't waffle, and he doesn't go and back down from what he believes in. And he's believed in you, and his product line is doing well. And again, you know, I remember the conversation we had when I think somebody was questioning his ability or his knowledge on XYZ. And what was his comment? He told the guy to do what? He said, just look. I think he had him on video or something. He said, look at my shelf. I have 6 Mr. Olympia titles. What do you have?
I know exactly the incident you're talking about. And somebody was questioning overtraining. Mm-hmm. We'll digress a little bit. So they're questioning overtraining, and, which is an exaggerated point, but people say that you can't overtrain. To any of you fitness people out there, if anybody tells you you can't overtrain, they're talking bullshit. Because you can overtrain, you don't go in the gym. And that was on social media. And the professor was suggesting you can't overtrain. And he just wasn't backing down. And I always believe the proof is in the pudding. Talk's bullshit. Mm-hmm. You know, you can learn as much as you want in the classroom. You can do as many exams as you want. You can get as many PhDs as you want. But it's what you do that counts. Right? It's what you do that counts. And the thing that Dorian did was did. Right? And you can't question the man that did, that took bodybuilding into this era, and question his word on his overtraining. When you're a professor, right? Maybe you pass some PhDs, you sat behind a desk. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. And the bullshit walks. Yep. Dorian did the talk and he walked the walk. And so I'm into that one.
Yeah, well, and that's why I brought that up, because to me, you know, it has to do with results. Okay, like with what you're doing, what Dorian has done, and what he's continuing to do. I think that you have a winning combination with Novo Nutrition. Protein Bites is your first, I'm going to call it your flagship product. And I know you're going to have a lot more coming, Andy. I know a lot more things are going to come out of this whole situation, but I'm happy that you're happy, and I'm happy that you're enjoying the journey, because that, beyond making everything successful, enjoying the journey and people seeing how happy you are for doing what you're doing inspires people to want to live a full life. And for that, I pat you on the back, my friend.
Yeah, well, just as far as new products are concerned, I've already made them. I've made the next 4 new products. I'm just not going to launch them yet.
No, I know you're not telling me, but that's okay. But we're not going to talk about it. No, we're not going to talk about it because really, when you do launch these products, it's going to be fantastic just to see it come out. And, you have to get your distribution in order, which you're doing. And as I said earlier, this time next year, it's going to be a different story. It's not going to be who's Novo. It's going to be like, oh, Novo Nutrition. Oh, we're going to get to them. Oh, we have to get that product. Oh, and all that other jazz, all that other stuff that happens with all the other major companies. You're going to be right in the mix. And I'm proud of you for that, my man. You've been doing you worked hard. It wasn't given to you. You worked hard.
No, nothing gets given to you in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I've been loved.
So now, before I let you go, why don't you give some information on how people can find out more about Protein Bites, how they can buy them, social media, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's rapidly trending on social media. I said to American listeners, that's going to be available as of next week, in the week after the GNC. So you can track it down in their stores, or you can track it down on their websites. As far as the rest of the lists are concerned, we've got pretty much in, I think it's 18 countries, including America now. So that's due to distribution network. But we're just scratching the surface. But we've been manufacturing phase 7, what I call phase 7 of the protein chip, which is the current one. And we've moved in the last 3 months something like 46 tons. And that's a lot of chips.
That is a lot of chips.
A lot of containers of chips. And they've all been pre-sold. So, credit to the team that's behind this, credit to all the people that work tirelessly at the factory, the logistics people, and I might be the driving force, but all the credit must go to them, because without them, I would be nothing. So, I might be the driver, but they're the engine. So all my people might be listening to this, and I know you will be listening to this. I commend you all. Thank you.
Oh, glasses up to them, and I do know how you are, and you put a team together, and when you put a team together of good people, you're going to create some magic. And people think when I say that I just say that. No, it's true. If you have good people around you, magic happens because you have more people pushing on. You're on the same page.
Business is about people.
Yeah.
The best products in the world. If you've not got good people around to push it, it's all about people, and that makes the journey more enjoyable too. No. Because like I tell you now, it's not an easy journey some days. It's not easy. But if you've got purpose and some passion and you've got good people, then at least you get some job satisfaction out of it.
Well, I think you're doing some great stuff, Andy. And I wanna thank you for coming on. We got in deep with stuff, and I want our listeners to actually really pay attention to what Andrew Coulson was talking about, and I want you to go and show your support. Go to GNC and buy the protein bites, because they are that good. And once they do hit the market, I am gonna go and get a bag, and I am gonna take a picture with this bag, and I am gonna let people know that I'm eating this stuff too.
Louis, on a lightly slighting it,
yeah.
What you need to do is, you need to give me a selfie. I like a selfie.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the bag with me eating it.
You need to do a selfie, and you need to put this selfie out there. In fact, if anyone wants to do a selfie in the protein bites, we're looking for people, but we're going to run a big competition globally. But yes, get yourself doing a selfie there.
I'm going to have to do a selfie on that one for sure. And I want our listeners to go to novonutrition.net. I want you to find out more and learn about the story of Novo Nutrition, learn about the story of Protein Bites. Get to GNC next week when it starts hitting the shelves, and trust me, you're going to thank me. And make sure you go to, if you're on Twitter, what is it, Protein Bites 1?
It's Protein Bites 1 on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, follow that, and you're going to learn more about what's going on. And on that note, we've come to the end of the show. Andy, thank you for coming on. Definitely an insightful journey. And we're going to have you on again as things progress, where I know a year from now, when I go to bring you on, I'm going to have to go through channels. I know it.
No, Louis, Never.
All right. But, again, Andy, thank you so much, my man, and best of luck. And again, listeners, go to novonutrition.net. Check it out, Protein Bites 1 on Twitter. Check it out. You're not going to be disappointed. Thank you.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.